And welcome everyone to a very special video. So as you are probably aware, we are both fans of Transformers, as you would expect. So the new Netflix show came out on Thursday, July 30th. Transformers War for Cybertron trilogy, Siege, 6 episodes. All of them are around 25 minutes. And so we thought it would be fun to review the entire series. So this is going to be kind of a dual part review. So first 3 episodes are going to be here on my channel, and then the last 3 episodes are going to be on Noto's channel.
I'm gonna save you guys the time of watching. The show sucks.
Alright.
Well, just kidding.
This isn't going to be a super deep dive review. I know I would like to do that eventually, but I'll probably wait until both Earthrise and Kingdom are out.
I'd say, yeah. Let's really until like the end of the series to do a full in-depth review.
This will just be for Siege and all of its quirks.
Yeah, this is our opinions, by the way. Don't hate us for having a different opinion than you.
That should go without saying, but
Yeah.
Gonna start this off with episode 1. It's just titled episode 1.
Yeah, they didn't give the episodes names.
They should have. Would have been real nice, but they just called it episode 1.
I like the beginning, where Wheeljack and Bumblebee are on the run from the Decepticons.
So yeah, I think we saw the opening shot in the trailer.
Yep, first trailer.
Yeah, with the Seekers flying overhead and one of them gets shot down, and then it kind of pans down and we get Bumblebee and Wheeljack, which obviously is a reference to the first episode of the original cartoon, as those were the first 2 characters we saw there as well. Kind of in a similar position, hunting for Energon, which honestly I'm fine with, because Wheeljack's my favorite, so of course I'll be fine with Wheeljack whenever.
Yeah, I especially love how in that scene where they're surrounded by the Seekers, Jetfire just slashes Starscream's hand off.
Oh yeah, getting like way far ahead there, yeah.
And I gotta say, I didn't really notice this until I looked at Starscream in that scene. The brushed metal finish that all the characters, or at least almost all the characters have, is beautiful. I absolutely love it. It's such the polished, clean animation. Wow, they really outdid themselves with that. That's just a commonality throughout the entire show.
Yeah, the animation in the show was actually really good. I think they got the weight of the characters, since they're giant metal robots. I think they got the weight really well. And I do like, at least for the most part, with the exception of a couple characters, that all of the characters here use their toy models, which is super, super cool. And it helps kind of give it a feel that we haven't had since like probably the Unicron trilogy.
Animated.
Oh,
because the animated toy designers work super close with the show designers.
Yeah, but this is kind of more akin to like Energon and Cybertron, where it's the actual toy models kind of in action.
I do have kind of a problem with what they did. They were fairly inconsistent with staying accurate to the toy, because I remember there was an interview where they said that they wanted to be as accurate as possible. So they left giant gaps where Megatron's hands fold in for alt mode. Yet for all the generic scrap face refractor drones, they filled in the hole where his head goes in alternate mode.
Yeah, I mean, there was also generics too, so...
Yeah, it was consistently inconsistent.
I think the only 2 characters in the show that didn't use their toy models were Bumblebee and Alita.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because, I mean, we'll get to it later, I think, in yours, but there's another character that uses a toy model, but isn't a toy.
Yeah.
Kind of. But that's a future thing. But yeah, so...
I'm gonna be honest, I really don't remember much from those first 2 episodes. Like, they were kind of just world-building establishment kind of stuff, you know?
And this is also the kind of the first scene we see of this new version of Bumblebee.
Yeah.
Which I actually kind of like.
I did enjoy Bumblebee's character portrayal, him being the screw the Autobots, I'm just trying to survive kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like a scavenger type.
His arc was actually decent, I think. It's one of the very few character arcs on the show that weren't pathetic.
Yeah, it works. But again, he also didn't have a toy model, or a toy, so his model's visually kind of different from the rest of them.
They mainly just established characters and just introduced us to them, because what did we get introduced to? Optimus, Alita, Bumblebee, Hound, the Decepticons, Wheeljack, Red Alert. It's mainly just establishing the characters, if anything. It kind of started the story too at the ending of the episode, having Ultra Magnus turn himself over to the Decepticons. So, which we did see that in the trailer too.
Yeah, the first two episodes were kind of establishing characters and trying to establish what little parts of the universe they could in this short span of episodes.
Yeah, it's only 2 hours runtime, so not much time to work with.
Starts out with them kind of searching for Energon. They find a space bridge.
Yep, which comes into play later.
Yeah, they get surrounded by Seekers and Jetfire, and Megatron is there as well for some reason. Prime comes in to save them, gets his shit kicked in by Megatron.
And it turns into Herder, sign the treaty. No, we can't sign the treaty, it's cultural destruction. Her. You tried to assassinate me. Here. I find it funny that Alita 1 could have ended the entire war if she had just shot Megatron instead of some random Seeker.
I mean, we did get the cool transformation of Optimus Prime, which we got in the trailer. I'm trying to think if there's anything else of importance in the first episode other than them kind of stumbling upon the space bridge.
I've watched the show 3 times and I keep forgetting. Isn't it just Magnus leaking that Megatron's looking for the Allspark and Shockwave being like, we can rebuild Cybertron by reformatting all the Autobots as Decepticons.
Something like that.
I think that's literally it.
One of the few things that's weird is that they obviously didn't have models for vehicles for both Alita and Bumblebee, because they never transform. We never see them. And I'm wondering if they didn't want to use Wheeljack's alt mode either, because it's more of an Earth mode.
It's an Earth mode, let's be honest.
Lots of generics as well in the background. They reuse a lot of the molds. Refractor, Sideswipe, and Ironhide. I
really like what they did there, reusing a bunch of different animation models in different colors. Instead of just being their one definitive generic robot, it's just a bunch of different makes and models, kind of like cars in real life.
Yeah, I also want to mention too that the animation is by Polygon Pictures.
What did they make?
So Polygon Pictures is, I'm not entirely sure where they're based. I know it's in the East somewhere. I don't know if it's necessarily Japan or Taiwan or something in that kind of area. But they're really big in the anime scene, and they do a lot of 3D animation. That's kind of their specialty. I think they've done...
The animation in the show is god tier. It's gorgeous. Everything about it looks good. I can't think of one clunky instance with the animation. The animation is a solid 10 out of 10, in my opinion.
I know they've done, I think, there's a couple of shows on Netflix I know they did. They did Knights of Sidonia, I'm pretty sure. I know they did Blame. There's some really cool stuff here, and the animation's good, and the backgrounds as well are super, super good. Yeah, anyways, episode 2, it starts off with Magnus just straight up walking into the Decepticons' fortress.
Into the Decepticons. Beats up one con, they're all just like, who are you? Then he's like, oh, hey, I saved your life, you saved my life. Let's talk this treaty over, and maybe we prevent a cultural genocide.
Yeah, they sit at a table, have a conversation.
Then later, when Megatron considers, cultural oblivion toward the Autobots, Magnus is like, oh god, what have I done?
Yeah.
Is that it for episode 2? I forget what else happens. Is that the one with the Allspark ambush, or...
I think the idea might have gone into 3. That. Might have happened in episode 2. Question. How do you feel about Shockwave's voice?
It grew on me, but it's not the best Shockwave.
I liked it. It is a different Shockwave than we're used to, and I liked it. I think it was worse in the trailer.
Because that first line was definitely a weaker one for Shockwave.
Yeah, but also I think now that we have context for the character and the setting as a whole, it makes more sense for him to have that voice. So it's by far not the worst voice in the series.
I think that has to go to Optimus Prime.
No,
There's some
no, Soundwave for sure. They
I
screwed
don't
over.
mind Soundwave.
They screwed
But,
over
like,
Soundwave's
it's
voice
definitely
with
weak.
the modulating.
Yeah, they definitely could have used. I was kind of hoping they'd use a synthesizer, kind of like what they did with animated, something close to animated Soundwave.
Yeah,
That would have been perfect.
they put too much modulation over the dude's voice, so there were times when I couldn't.
You had no idea what he was saying.
Yeah, that's
And this is a few episodes in advance, but like when Starscream becomes the head of the Seekers, uh, doesn't Soundwave say like most inferior or something like that?
yeah, something like that.
It was so overly modulated that I had no idea what he was saying until I put on subtitles.
Yeah. Oh, this was the one with the trap.
Oh, it was. I like the idea of the trap. I like that they took all the obscured Decepticon deluxe figures and kind of made them into their own little group.
Yeah, you had Impactor, Barricade,
Impactor, Skytread, Spinister, Barricade.
and Refractors, and Refractor as well.
Refractor's more of a generic on the show, though.
Yeah, but you could tell by the colors of this one they were more of the standard looking
Was
Refractors.
episode 2 or 3 where Mirage used like the Energon clones?
That might be the next one. I'm not entirely sure.
Alright.
It's either
I
3 or
think
4.
that's
I
it for
think.
episode 2, though.
Oh, this is when they bring up the idea of the torture. We don't see it.
Oh, yeah, the idea of having to use. Yep.
Any methods at all to give up the Autobot space from Ultra Magnus.
Which I actually noticed this after it was pointed out to me, but when Magnus is getting tortured, Megatron doesn't look initially. Like, he doesn't watch the torture.
Yeah, because it's kind of alluded to, at least, that they...
That they were friends, and Megatron didn't want to come the torture.
Yeah.
I actually really like that. It's subtle, but it's deep, you know?
Yeah. So, okay.
Megatron actually had some subtle deepness with his character.
Episode 3 starts off with one of the more interesting kind of character plot points, which is Ratchet finding Impactor. But that's like the cold open of the show, is Ratchet finding Impactor and whatever.
I gotta say, I absolutely love Impactor and Ratchet on that show. Like, the characters are actually so well done.
The kind of character backstory they gave for Ratchet I found kind of weird. It felt like more of a Wheeljack backstory.
It actually kind of felt akin to the G1 Ratchet, weird enough. It's like he did have some attributes of an engineer. I mean, he helped Wheeljack build the Dinobots.
Like, the inventor portion seems more of a Wheeljack thing.
But the mechanic thing is Ratchet.
Like, yeah, because Ratchet's always been a medic, obviously.
Yeah, and I like how they changed him from being like, oh, I make weapons of mass destruction to, oh, I heal people now. I really like how Ratchet was able to wear the Autobot brand, but look past factions.
There was some stuff with the Seekers and like the Autobots or whatever talking. Blah blah blah.
Isn't that the episode where Jetfire called Starscream a tool?
Yeah, probably.
That is my favorite moment of the entire show, is when Jetfire calls Starscream a tool.
The one thing I want to mention about Jetfire, I thought the character of Jetfire was fine. They lean into the more Decepticon stuff, which makes a bit more sense, especially for like a G1 Jetfire, and that was fine. The one problem I had with him was that I felt like his voice fluctuated a lot. The accent or connotations that the actor was going for fluctuated a lot more, so it felt like it was a different character sometimes.
For me, and this is kind of an issue I have with a couple different characters, the pacing of what they're saying was very off. Like, they'll be speaking super slow at times, then super quick at other times. That doesn't fit the context of the situation. Like, and Jetfire is one of the larger offenders of this.
Yeah.
Optimus Prime also does it.
I didn't really have a problem with Optimus for the most part. I know a lot of people complain about him. I don't know. I thought it was fine as far as Optimuses go.
You see, I think if the voice actor who did Prime tried to mimic animated, because I think they were going for more of a young, naive, inexperienced leader Optimus, which is what animated Prime was. So if he had tried to emulate animated Prime instead of G1 Prime, I think it will have worked much better.
Yeah, I also think maybe just imitate no one. Just let the guy do his own thing with the character, I think could have worked as well. I think they needed better voice direction in general.
Yeah, whoever was in charge of the voice recording and directing that did not do a very good job.
It was fine, but it could have been a lot better.
Yeah. And that's just the problem with the voices in general. Then again, bits of it are more up to the actors and actresses, because I think Bumblebee and Alita 1's voice actor, actress, respectively, did a really good job.
Yeah, those two. I also think the dude who did Starscream and who did Megatron.
Starscream, too. And Megatron.
Starscream and Megatron, I think, were the standouts for the Decepticons.
Yep.
With Alita and Bumblebee being the standouts, with Wheeljack not far behind. I thought the dude who did Wheeljack was also really good as well.
Oh, yeah, Wheeljack was good. Ratchet was pretty good, too.
They were
Hog and RC, even though they're both big characters, I didn't do too much and have not much screen time compared to the others that we've talked about. They did a very good job of those characters as well.
The one of the more fun ones was Mirage.
Oh yeah, Mirage was really good. I liked Mirage a lot, actually.
This is also the episode where we get the Decepticon Mirage.
I love how Decepticon Mirage is a first wave figure of the Netflix toy line, even though he was on screen for at most 20 seconds.
It's a very interesting repaint.
I love it. I love that figure, and I love how they worked it into the show.
When the show was coming out and we just got very little plot details, one of the big things was Megatron's trying to take the Allspark and use it to reformat the Autobots into Decepticons.
And when Decepticon Mirage came out, everybody was thinking, oh hey, or at least I was thinking, oh hey, they used the Allspark to turn Mirage evil.
Yeah, and that made the most sense.
Yeah.
In the context of everything we had known. But in this show, it's one of the things I really like about what they did with Mirage, is because Mirage, as a character, has always had cloaking.
Yep, and they gave him holograms. I love that. It works so much better for Mirage than it ever did Hound, and it works so much better than cloaking ever would.
Well, I like the spin they took on cloaking. So they took the idea of cloaking, and it's like, oh, instead of him going invisible, he just disguises himself as a Decepticon, which I think works really well.
And I really like how they use the Energon clones too. How he could duplicate himself. And I remember reading this a while ago about a scrap concept for Generation 1, where Refractor, the center guy with the shutter on his gut, could create two nearly identical clones of himself. And something I picked up on the show was you had the three Refractors and Mirage cloning himself 2 times to make 3 in total. So I think it's probably a bit far-fetched, but I do think that was an homage to that scrap concept. You can see it in one Generation 1 episodes, the 2 clones going back into the main bot.
Yeah. Well, that was all a reference to the fact that Reflector at that time was a 3-pack, and there was 3 of the characters. But getting back to the whole plot thing, the whole reason they do this was they were trying to find information, maybe about the Allspark or whatever, but they were also going to find Ratchet. So they end up at Ratchet's place, where he's harboring all of these injured
Cybertronians.
Yeah, Decepticons and Autobots alike. Impactor being one of them. So we get
I really enjoyed that scene. Just everything about it I liked.
Yeah, we get a conflict between Mirage and Impactor. Obviously alluding to like the 3-pack thing. And you get a bit more character depth for Impactor himself, which will kind of carry over into the later episodes. And it also delves into Ratchet's backstory as well, a little bit.
Yeah,
probably as much as we could.
Manufacturer.
Yeah, like he made weapons or whatever. And then we cut from this to Ultra Magnus being tortured for the location of the Autobot base.
Is this before or after they used, is it the blue or red electricity that they used? I forget.
It looks like it's the blue. Again, I don't think it matters. Because this is the one...
It's torture.
Yeah, it's torture. They let him go, and then he tries to escape, and then he's stopped by Jetfire.
He doesn't shoot Megatron in the back of the head, because he's too noble.
Yeah.
I love that. I gotta say, I love everything about this Megatron. he uses the moral weaknesses of the Autobots to his advantages. And then he twists whatever events happens into his benefit, saying that, hey, this person tried to assassinate me, or hey, the Autobots are trying to destroy our world by taking the Allspark. Like, I love that about Megatron, how he can twist events to his own gain. You know?
Yeah, so then we get Magnus tortured again.
This time his armor starts to explode.
Yeah, like the shoulder pylons explode, and I think there's some stuff in the legs explodes as well. I think this might be the episode where where Jetfire and Skywarp find the Autobot base. They find it, it's cloaked, and then Jetfire
shoots Skywarp, and this leads into the 4th episode, I think, but they claim that Skywarp is dead, but we never see him die.
Not really. So, Skywarp and Jetfire find the Autobot base. Turns out it's a cloaked ship. Skywarp wants to report it to Megatron, and then they just storm in there and kill everyone aboard.
And then Jetfire wanted to give them the option to surrender.
Yeah, like we should let them surrender. It's like stuff like that. It's kind of a shame this was Skywarp, because obviously Skywarp tries to go to Megatron and report him for treachery or whatever, and Jetfire takes him down.
I don't think Skywarp died of his injuries from Jetfire. I think Starscream killed him. It's a very Starscream thing to do, you know?
Maybe. But he was shot. Skywarp was clearly shot by Jetfire.
Yeah, and he was injured, but I could see Starscream just letting him die instead of doing anything to fix him.
Like Skywarp crashed by Starscream, and he's obviously like limping and is in pain, and like sputtering and groaning, and so in this whole scene with him and Starscream is overlapped with Megatron doing another speech about reformatting the Autobots with the Allspark.
And unifying Cybertron. Man, I love how they portrayed Megatron in the show. He's definitely the best character. Like, not, in my opinion, not many shows can get Megatron right, but this show did fantastic with him.
Yeah. And I think that was kind of the end of episode 3 before we get to episode 4. So again, like I said before, first 3 episodes are going to be on my channel, last 3 are going to be on Noto's. So this is kind of the end of my video. Of course, I'll have a link to Noto's video as well, so you can continue over there. But just to round it, that was kind of the basic plot for the first 3 episodes. And it was fine. Again, I think a lot of my issues were with the pacing of the show. And I'll probably get more into that at the end. But that's it for us on this channel. So
go watch my video.
Yeah, go watch his to get our kind of final thoughts and the last 3 episodes there. And I hope you enjoyed. I hope you check out the next one as well. And like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And I will see you later.